what an exciting day and an exciting place. Would you look at that? We're talking about a new subdivision and building new homes. Hey, here's Tom from National Doors. Thanks for coming in today.
Yeah, you bet. We're excited to have you guys here. This is today we're going to talk about a new subdivision in Van Wert. It's been 25 years since we've had a new subdivision developed in Van Wert.
And we've had a lot of interest in this thing. In fact, we don't have our model quite ready, so we brought our RV and all these materials here. We've got our team here bringing stuff in to help us. Hey guys, what have you brought today?
I got some signage here. We're ready to go.
Perfect.
I got a map of all the lots in Dickinson Farms.
Look at the size of that lake.
I got the brochures here, so we got the
think so.
plans. Yeah, share with everyone.
Flags.
Oh, Tony,
That's
you got
not
the
enough,
banner.
but that's a good start.
And banners. I have the banners.
All right, hey, watch out. Hey, Izzy.
This is a banner.
This is a banner. That is the banner.
I'm serious. Okay, guys, I think we're done. Hey, let's hang these things up. Go. We're ready. Moving on this.
All right, great. All right, guys, I think we're ready. Yes.
Okay, good.
Izzy, you help me?
Oh!
Those are fragile, Izzy.
Now we've only got 3 mugs.
Welcome to Between the Studs. We are Granite Ridge Builders, custom builders serving northern Indiana, northwest Ohio, and also parts of southern Michigan. We have been building custom homes for almost 2 decades, and we're really passionate about what we do. So join us today as we explore the processes, the trends, and also tips that characterize today's new home. Thanks for watching.
Well, as we mentioned, today we are in Van Wert, Ohio for a really exciting new show.
We really are. This is going to be one of the best things we've ever done over here in Ohio. But what do you guys want to talk about today and let people know why we're here and what we're doing?
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about history. Now, Lonnie, do you know where the word Ohio comes from?
Oh, no.
So Ohio actually stands for Great River, and it's an old Iroquois term. Ohio that's how we get Great River or Great Water. And I'm also going to be talking a little bit about how the land we're standing on used to be called the Black Swamp. So not to be confused with black asphalt where we're standing right now. So,
Tyler, history is important, but I also want to talk about where Van Wert is today. So we're going to talk about the population with over 30,000 in Van Wert County and 11,000 here in Van Wert proper. Talk about the airports, how the city's growing, and we're so excited to be a part of that.
Well, of course, we love new subdivisions and new homes. So I'm excited to talk about our new subdivision here in Van Wert. We have so many lots available, single family, villa lots, huge pond, a pavilion, and then of course we have spec homes coming up. So I can't wait to share those with you.
And with new construction, always some questions about financing. So we're going to answer some questions about what kind of financing eligible here, and let's get you qualified for your new home.
And as they're talking about all the serious stuff, I'm going to talk about the fun part of Van Wert. We've got a beautiful courthouse. We've got great entertainment center around, restaurants everywhere, bistros. This is a great and thriving place when it comes to the social interactions.
Well, and we can't have a show without the latest trends, so I'm so excited to go to your own local door and trim company, National, and we're going to share the latest trends and some really fun features for you.
and guys, we can't not talk about the giant RV behind us. So that's what I'm going to talk about. And that RV, it's going to become our mobile sales office where we can answer a lot of these questions. Like Izzy said, financing. Elizabeth said the lots and the subdivision. So it's going to be right off of Van Wert, Decatur Road. You know, you come out, stop right in your backyard, right behind the Chief grocery store, and come out and see us in the RV.
Okay, Elizabeth, you better get ready for yours. We got to set this up too. So
okay.
let's get our first segment.
Let's get off this black asphalt.
Get off this black asphalt. Okay.
We are so excited to be out here in Van Wert, Ohio, talking about our brand new community, the landing at Dickinson Farms. This is one community that has it all. We've got a villa section, no maintenance, no yard mowing, no snow removal. We've got some single family lots that are on a beautiful 5-acre pond. These lots start in the mid-30s, incredibly affordable and a ton of value. So we can't wait to see you either here at our RV or back at our 15,000 square foot showroom in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
And I'm so excited because of course we can have a custom built home for you. So you can come in and talk to Granite Ridge Builders and we can design a home for you. But we're also going to have spec homes and model homes. We have 7 or 8 homes we're getting ready to start. So some beautiful floor plans. Right here, JR is holding our Canyon Brook. This is gorgeous. We cannot wait to show it off to Van Wert. This is a 1.5 story. So the master bedroom is on the main level and then we have additional bedrooms upstairs. Covered verandas, tile showers. Some of the homes will have a basement, some are on slabs. Of course, we have single family sites, and then we have villa homes. So villas might be new to Van Wert. What that means is you don't have to shovel your snow or mow your grass. So we have some beautiful homes coming. They're going to start in the low 200s on up. We have affordable lots, just a lot of great things in the works.
And whether you need an FHA loan or a VA loan, a conventional loan or a USDA loan, we've got it covered out here, don't we?
We sure do. No matter which kind of home you're going to get, we're going to be able to tell you welcome home as
And
a part
by
of
the
our
way,
process.
oh, wait a minute. Welcome home. That's actually a grant that's available to Ohio, $4,000 or $5,000. It can be used as a down payment or as closing cost or maybe a principal reduction, available here in Ohio.
And of course, the local banks here are very excited, of course, to be of help to you as well. They've got zero down financing, one-time construction close. They got all kinds of things they'd like to offer you as well.
Rates are really low, and besides that, we've got some zero down options that are unbelievable.
The USDA financing is available here too, whether it's the guarantee or the 502 program. All kinds of options, payments as low as $850 a month. Great options available right here at Van Wert.
They really are.
So those are all fantastic reasons for our viewers at home to contact us about this beautiful community. I think my favorite part is going to be the amazing pavilion. As people walk in, they'll see this great common area to hang out, overlook sunsets on the 6-acre lake. It's going to be gorgeous.
We're located on the Van Wert Decatur Road, just west of Shannon, behind the shopping center. Look for signs or this great big old RV.
Guys, I'm really excited to be in downtown Van Wert, Ohio to talk a little bit about history to our viewers today. I think a lot of people don't realize that what we're sitting on right now used to be called the Black Swamp. We talked a little bit about that earlier, but early on the Black Swamp was something that was really great for fur trading, the Indians, until we established ourselves, or the citizens established themselves here, and they had to deal with mucky water, mud, malaria, but we've come a long way since then.
Yes, and it was the fur trade that took place here that brought the Iroquois, the Shawnee, and the Miami here to actually fight for the area. And it was eventually the Shawnee that won. And also, the Indians in this area were known for fighting against General Mad Anthony Wayne. And we know Mad Anthony Wayne's famous in Fort Wayne. We get our name from that particular.
Yeah, and a little rest of the story, there was three big battles.
Right,
and
right.
the two first ones did not go well. Little Turtle just annihilated a couple of them. One was General Harmer, and I think you have a little history on that. It was done in the town that you used to live in, which was what?
Right, Fort Recovery is just south of here. Yeah. And then my grandparents lived there and actually were buried in that area.
And the good news is, obviously, they won a great big battle up at Maumee, which is right near Toledo. And that was the one where General Mad Anthony won that battle.
As well.
Now let's fast forward to just after the Civil War. That was a really big time for the industry here in Van Wert, and it all centered around timber. There was 15 different stave factories here in Van Wert.
Is that a wood factory?
Yeah, wood factory.
Wow.
Yep. So literally they were just taking down tree after tree in this area.
Amazing.
Yeah, Luke, it makes sense. So they exhausted the timber very quickly here and had to turn to some new forms of agriculture. So farming was what took over. They had all this flat ground, so they did a lot of farming. They were able to create a lot of dairy farms, so the dairy cattle was big for them. They also had what's called draft horses, so a lot of working horses. We're very familiar with that with our Amish community back home.
That's true.
Yeah, and again, fast forward even a little bit longer. So 1920, they were still very heavily in the agriculture. So you're thinking, corn, soybean, wheat, the pigs, and then the dairy farms, like you mentioned. But then manufacturing started to take place here. So, and that's kind of what shapes the industry here today, along with their central insurance. But then you have factories that produces ambulances, automotive parts, fiber drums, clothing, processed food, and then probably my favorite is the wood doors and trim, and we're going to get to go see where we make that here in Van Wert.
That's special today.
That's awesome. Now you guys know I'm in the Army Reserves, so you touched on a little bit about the Civil War. One thing that I love about the town of Van Wert, Ohio is we actually have ties with the citizens from this town to World War II. So during World War II, the Battle of Normandy, the Air Force accidentally bombed two cities in France, Vaumoutiers and Ornier. Now, from bombing those two towns, 400 citizens from the town of Van Wert, Ohio came together and helped rebuild those cities in France.
Wow.
It was interesting, and those cities were so appreciative of us going over to help them rebuild their cities. They sent people back over with us to teach us the cheese industry. That's why a lot of people in the olden days will say Van Wert was known as the cheesemakers, because they made specialty cheeses that the only other place in the world that could do it were the two cities in France that we bombed.
So what kind of cheeses were they?
So two of the specialty cheeses that they actually produced were Camembert and Luxembourg. And so those two cheeses were extremely popular, and one of the premier makers of cheeses in France was a woman by the name of Marie Harel. And the people of France loved this woman so much, she was actually revered. They had a statue built after her that accidentally got destroyed during World War II. And so those people of Van Wert, they helped rebuild that statue. So for that appreciation, they helped us make those cheeses, and they brought that technology and everything over here to Ohio.
Wow. I got a better story though. Guess what? How did Van Wert get its name? Well, first of all, it was from a guy by the name of Isaac Van Wert, not Wert. Somebody made a misspelling, and it became Wert, and I think they're kind of glad they did.
I can relate to that. I make a lot of spelling errors every day.
Okay, well, here's the story, though. How did we get that name? There was a gentleman by the name of Isaac Van Wert, and there was also John Paulding. You've probably heard of Paulding County.
Paulding County, yeah.
And David Williams. You've heard of Williams County. Okay. They were given this plot because of what they did. There were three gentlemen. They were about 20 years old, and they were in the Continental American Army as militiamen. Well, what happened was, you've heard the big story about a biggest, most infamous traitor, which was General
Benedict
Arnold.
Yeah.
Well, guess what he had to do with it? Well, first of all, General Benedict Arnold was a big general, and he was very famous. He was in charge of West Point. Well, what he did was he had some secrets, and he was going to get West Point to surrender so that a British soldier, Major John Andres, stopped at his house, got the secrets, left, and three gentlemen stopped him, questioned him, didn't sound right, found out that he had all these secrets, he was a traitor, and they turned him in, and that's how we probably have what we have today, and we're not owned by another country, the United States.
That's true, Tony, and I know a little bit more about that story that I'm going to share with you guys. So when General Benedict Arnold gave those plans to Major John Andre, he actually was told by Benedict Arnold to change out of uniform and get into street clothes and deliver those plans to the British. Well, those three gentlemen stopped him.
That's why.
And they saw that he was in street clothes, and something tipped them off that something wasn't right. So by finding those plans with Major John Andre, they were able to help stop the surrender of West Point. And when Benedict Arnold found out, he actually got back on a ship and went back to Britain. So what George Washington did to try to get Benedict Arnold back over to America is they wanted to offer up some kind of trade. So they offered to trade Major John Andre for Benedict Arnold, and the British weren't going to do that. So what ended up happening was, when we couldn't get them to trade Benedict Arnold back for Major John Andre, we just hung Major John Andre.
And that all happened around October the 2nd, 1780. That's pretty interesting. I didn't know that part.
And that was a pivotal point, too, because when you think of West Point, military academy, that's where the Army Golden Knights are today. And me being in the military, I have some ties to West Point. But if we had surrendered that back in the day, that could have been a turning point for the Revolutionary War.
Interesting.
Hey guys, there's a lot of rich history here. We could go on and on, but hey, let's go across the street to the library that's full of books and full of history. I think there's some exciting things over there.
Wait, the front of that is Richard's Romanesque.
Oh yeah, that's right.
This is fascinating. 1901
That's
is
a lot
when
of good
this came up.
information.
How cool.
Well, we are in Van Wert, Ohio, and we are in front of the library. There is a rich history here because this is the first county library in the United States. It does have a rich history because back in the 1800s, there was a local businessman named John Brumback. He was a former president of the Central Insurance Company, and then he eventually went into the lending or the banking business. Well, there were 12 local women here who decided they wanted a free library. So they started this, but he was the financial backing. Therefore, it's called the Brumback Library.
You know, I love small towns with rich histories, and there's a reason why I'm holding these flowers, because they do have something to do with the Van Wert city.
Van Wert is the peonies capital of the world. It's a great place here, and the peonies flower is hugely popular. In fact, so many farmers here, there was acreage upon acreage of peonies flowers.
Wow.
And there's a lot of history, though, when it comes to the peonies, how that got started. There was a local businessman in the 1930s who wanted to put some peonies in his backyard. So he started, and eventually he had 2 acres of peonies. Over time, he started shipping them all over the world. So it grew, he had to move, and eventually it was 50 acres. Thus, it became the peony capital of the world.
Well, and now there's a festival just because of peonies that brings over 100,000 people the first Sunday of every June, and it is an amazing festival this time of year.
You want to go with me next year?
I'm telling you, I think you would enjoy it because it starts with the parade, ends with the parade, and in between there's tons of concerts, music, vendors, all kinds of wonderful things.
So we've got everything going on with the festival, the first Sunday of every June that we have here, but really, downtown Van Wert always has something going. That's one thing that I've really been impressed by over the last few months of coming down here, just walking downtown. You see a little bit of everything. You see arts, you see restaurants, you see cafes, you see bistros, not to mention all the different types of architecture you see just by walking down the street.
Don't forget shopping. I mean, we have to come to
yeah, we
shopping.
have to have shopping.
So.
Another nice thing in Van Wert is the size of the city is small, but it is the only small town of its size that has both a YMCA and YWCA. And I know a few of us have even taken advantage of it with Camp Clay. They have a nice pond or water park there that's a lot of fun, open 7 days a week in the summer.
The schools here are fabulous as well. In 2007, they took on an undertaking where they built the middle school and high school together in the same area. They've now added an elementary school, and all of them are there together.
And the nice thing is they're all together, but they're also right by our new area that we're doing, the landing at Dickinson Farms. Also, right by the landing at Dickinson Farms is the nice Wonger Entertainment Center that they have there. They bring in some top-notch artists and musicians from all over the world right here to Van Wert.
Well, let's go back to history one more time because we cannot ignore the beautiful building that we are standing in front of. And how awesome is this? This is a Richardson Romanesque, and there's a lot of great features that make it that style.
I like looking at the left side of the building here where we can see the Cretan parapet. You might think of it as an embattlement as well, that you might imagine that you could have guns kind of firing through there.
It's like a castle.
Yeah, it's a castle look to it. So that's one of my favorite parts.
Well, the library has a lot of architectural style that I love. The tower, the Lancelot windows, the Romanesque arch. It reminds me of St. Paul's in downtown Fort Wayne where we were a few months ago. Well, there's a lot of rich architectural history in Van Wert, and we just walked down Washington Street and looked at a few of those. For example, the Elizabethan. Of course I can remember that name, but that is the Victorian style.
You know, I love the Second Empire playing off of the courthouse here with the mansard roofs. It reminds me of going to Disney World and the Magic Kingdom every time.
Here you can see the colonial style as well as the Georgian style.
Also, we have a lot more of the Richardson Romanesque. Just like the library behind us, there are quite a few homes down on this street that way. Also, there's a lot of the Nouveau styles going down through this thing with just new takes off of the old styles.
Well, we are in Van Wert, Ohio, and we're at National Door and Trim. This is one of our trade partners with Granite Ridge Builders.
And right next to me, I have to introduce again here Tom Turnwald, the owner of National Door.
Thanks, Kayla. We've really appreciated our relationship with Granite Ridge. It's been a lot of fun.
It has been so awesome, and what National supplies Granite Ridge with is a lot of what you're going to see as the finished part of our home. So that's going to be the doors, trim work, a lot of hardware, stair parts, and a couple other odds and ends to really finish out our homes beautifully.
And Kayla, another thing they can do is kitchen cabinets, and they did this maple butcher block top to this island. And JR, what did you just do?
You know, Luke, I am a sucker for technology, and I love incorporating it any way we can. We've done it into the bar in this one.
It's a TV, and look, it's our favorite show.
I think this is the one on doors. Let's start watching.
Well, let's go take a look at the showroom. We'd love to show you some more door and trim options. Well, this year we've been talking about how trimscaping is everything right now, and that is one of the big reasons we're here at National Door and Trim to talk about trim, because it is a really big part of our homes, especially with the styles going on with the modern, the Joanna Gaines, farmhouse style with shiplap. There's a lot to talk about.
And it's fun to be here at our supplier and see all of their examples. Of course, we have a lot of this at our office, but we're here in Van Wert at their showroom looking at all of their samples.
When we're talking about the trim work, we're looking at your baseboard, your casing, crown molding, especially talking about door head casing and window head casing. There's so many different options. And when we're looking at this, we really need to be looking at the wood species, or if you're painting or staining it, because you could do oak, you could do maple, you could do pine and poplar. There's really a lot of options, and it can be overwhelming, but that's why we're here, because they're the experts and have so many options for us.
Well, trimscaping is really important to Granite Ridge Builders because it really is that final touch when it comes to your home. We are so excited about the model homes we have coming here in Van Wert and Dickinson Landing. You'll see a lot of these examples. We say just for a little bit extra money in your main living areas, you can really make a big impact.
And it does make a big difference in the style that your home is and the style that you're looking for that design. Because as you can see behind me, there's a lot of different options when it comes to the head casing, whether you're going to go more simple, whether you're going to go more traditional. traditional or colonial. All these different profiles really play into that. And if you're going to be a farmhouse style, you might want to be that simple one by that's very popular right now. If you're going to go transitional or traditional, you might want a little bit more profiling to your trim like you see here. So a lot of different things to think about there. And when we're talking the head casing, the reveal is very important in the style. So if you're doing a modern style, you might want to just have a mitered corner. If you're doing a farmhouse style, you might want the dog ear where it hangs over the side a little bit. So there's so many different things to think about, and that's why come into National Door, come into Granite Ridge Builders, because we have all these here to show. We'd love to talk to you about your styles.
So Luke, for such a long period of time, we really focused on painted woodwork. But now as stained is starting to come back, the wood species is more important than ever. But before we jump into that, let's talk about the anatomy of a door, and we have a good example right there.
Yeah, this is my favorite door, and we have one of these in our showroom, and I like to call this like the Frankenstein of doors because it's got 12 different species, and then it's got all the parts and pieces to it. And by showing the species in its natural state here, you can see how the grain can be a huge factor in that.
Yeah, and that will also dictate maybe what type of stain color you choose.
Yeah, so like you can see here, this pine, you can see that grain is very defined. Poplar has kind of that greenish, darkish color with some lighter color, so that can take a stain very differently. Then you got some mahogany and cherry, and what makes cherry so interesting when it comes to stain?
Yeah, it's going to change color a little bit over time, so you're not going to get the same door maybe 5 years from now that you see on the original stain.
Yeah, it'll continue to darken as it goes on. Well, that's talking about the species. Let's just hit on some of the parts and pieces that makes up a door.
Absolutely.
So Jared, let's start at the top here and work our way down. So the very top piece that goes across the top is called the top rail. So as we move on down the door, we come to a couple other rails, and these would be called center rails, and then obviously the bottom one would be called the bottom rail.
Makes sense. And then those all run horizontal. So we got a different name for the parts that run vertically.
Yeah, so here, let's just say this is where the strike would be, or the plunger. This would be called the strike style. And on the other side, where the hinges would be the hinge style. And then you have the middle piece that goes up and down, and that's called a mutton.
And then inside of those, Luke, inside of the rails and the styles, we've got the panels, right?
Yep. In this case, they'd be raised panels. Sometimes you can have flush panels, arch panels. There's lots of different panels that can go in there, and those can really dictate the style of the home.
Absolutely. So we've talked a little bit about the wood species, about stains. So let's pull out maybe a few of these doors, Luke, and then tell people at home maybe what style of home that'd go with.
So here you can see we have a 5-panel, and they're all raised panels. So I would say this is more traditional.
And I would say if we took this door and went to a more of a flat panel or flush, you could call that a modern door.
Yeah. Here's one that has glass. Now these have a bunch of grills that break up that, so it's divided glass. I would say this is a traditional.
Absolutely, and then we always talk about not just how the door is going to look, but how you're going to have to clean that door. So that one's got about 30 different panels you have to clean, so we could maybe do a beveled edge instead.
Yeah, and that's what this is.
Exactly.
So that's beveled edge, so it gives you this similar look, but it's very easy to clean on both sides. Here is one that I would say is probably more of a craftsman.
Absolutely, absolutely. We use that one a lot. We do that in painted applications or in stained.
And let's show them one last door. Probably the most common door you see out there, the 6-panel, and this is called a cross and Bible door, isn't it, JR?
Absolutely. So as you look at the top here, Luke, you can almost see the cross here, and then the bottom panel is the Bible, the book opened up. So that's why that one has either the Christian door or cross and Bible.
Yeah. Now, JR, we just showed a few doors. At our showroom, there are 40 different doors that you can see. National Door can provide us with even more than that, and doors can really dictate what that interior style is. And how many doors do we typically have in a house?
Well, interior doors, if we're just talking doors, we may have 15 to 20, but that's not including cabinet doors.
Right, garage doors.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So it can get upwards of 100 very quickly.
Absolutely.
So that is just one more good reason to stop into our 15,000 square foot showroom and see everything that Granite Ridge Builders has to offer.
We have been so blessed today to be going all over Van Wert County looking at a lot of the things that are happening. One big thing is right here at National Door and Trim. We are very blessed to have Tom with us to kind of talk to us a little bit about his business and what all he's doing for the Van Wert community. And Tom, thank you for opening up your doors and doing everything for us today. Truly appreciate it. Tell me a little bit about your warehouse you have going here. How many square foot do we have?
We've got about 75,000 square feet here.
Now, when it comes to employees, how many employees do we have going at any given time?
In this operation, we've got about 60 employees, and on any given week, where you do probably somewhere around 1,000 doors a week.
Now, is that just out of this facility? Because you have two, correct?
Yeah, I've got a sister company, and we do about 1,500 doors out of that facility as well.
That's fascinating. You guys got to be jumping here. Izzy, what do you have for them?
Yeah, I really want to know the process of making one door. What is that process? How long does it take?
So it takes us about an hour and a half to build a typical door, and of course that can vary from a custom door to a standard off-the-shelf door that we've got, but all in all, it's roughly an hour and a half.
Now, I know you have tons of orders coming in all the time. Are there any trends that you're kind of seeing that you're excited about?
So sure, we're seeing a lot of trends. We've got, there's a lot of online shows, and there's Houzz and Pinterest, and people are coming in with ideas. And, we've seen everything from just a picture or a clip from a newspaper where somebody said, hey, can you make this? And our design team will work up a sketch, and we'll figure out a way to make it and get it done. So yeah, we're seeing a lot more custom than we've ever seen in the past.
One thing that we love about National Door and Trim is they're just like Granite Ridge Builders. If you bring us an idea, if you bring us a dream that you have for your house or for your door, we're gonna make that into a reality for you. Thank you so much for your time, we appreciate it. But can you just do us a favor, just one more lap around?
You bet, let's do a tour.
All right, great.
Now,
Thanks.
do you have to tell me, was it true that you guys started in a garage
Yeah,
just like
isn't
so
that
many?
crazy?
That's
Out of a garage.
And it turned into
Apple,
this.
all of the greats are out of the garage, and we're done.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us. It's been an awesome show today, and I want to give a special thanks to Tom Turnwald for joining us with National Door and Trim. It was great to go over there and look at all the amazing things that they have in their showroom, and we're so excited to be able to join them and have them join us as a new trade partner.
And speaking of amazing things, Kayla, I'm so glad that we were able to show the viewers all the construction we're doing out here at Dickinson Farms. I mean, working with Luke and the whole construction department, we even have some people that work out here in Van Wert.
Yeah, we have a local construction team here that live here locally in the Van Wert area, and we've developed a lot of relationships with local trade partners, and we're ready to hit the ground running.
And remember, we have spec homes coming, so we're really excited. We're gonna have 7 or 8 spec homes here in just a couple of months. So you can come in and purchase or build your own custom home here in Van Wert.
Jared, would you close for us today?
Absolutely. As always, guys, we want to thank you for spending part of your day with us. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about who we are, what we do, and why we do what we do so well, please just pick up the phone, give us a call, visit the website below, follow us on any of our social media platforms, but even better yet, guys, come into our 15,000 square foot showroom or our custom RV so we can talk about building your new home in the landing at Dickinson Farms.
Okay, I think we're ready, right?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do it.
All right.
The old thing that's ready to
Okay.
move that bus. 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 Move that bus.
I can't stand like this. I can't stand like this.
Just so what you do is you just put your head back, drop your arms, and then that's where you
I
like
mean,
it.
I'm gonna soften the angle so my body language is good here.
That's good, but see that
You're in trouble. That's why I didn't want to stand there.
I'm ready. So why don't we just start from the top and kind of work our way down? So what do we call this top piece here?
You're gonna touch your Come on,
We
man.
went over it beforehand.
I wasn't listening when you were talking, I'm not gonna lie. I checked out because I figured yeah.
If I have to be the pointer, you have to be the...
No, I'll tell you to start at the top. You're good.
Okay. So the very top piece that goes across the top is called the top rail.
I thought you,
I'll keep going,
just
but I'll
go,
get in
bud.
a roll.
Just
so.
go, man.
They make up a lot of what the finished part of our home sees. I
See,
told you guys, in the
weren't
comments,
listening.
you weren't paying attention.
She said they're
Here's-
not
Look,
listening.
all I'm supposed to do is hit the button when he starts talking. I didn't miss my part.
Well, you could have hit the button when she was done.